Are y'all ready for part duh?
Dun, 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 dun. Give me more.
Gong, 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 gong. Give me more. This is like the second time you have sex with someone in the same night. It's not as hot, but you just need to kind of complete something.
Complete the circle of like. Yeah, exactly.
You kind of like you're still hungry, and it's like you don't want to go back for a second dessert. You're still a little hungry, but you really you have to do it.
Or you're feeling that sadness inside still, and you still haven't fucked it out of you. Oh wait,
no, I'm feeling that hard too. Thank you. I've just been red and love me.
I was talking about me. Poodle thought I was talking about him. Love me. You guys,
this is the only way I can feel something.
The only way. This is our second edition, our second part of our
deuxième part.
90-day gay crossover. 90-day
Crappens.
90 Crappens.
Our crap over.
Our crap over. Oh, I like that.
I like that. Our crap over with Crappens.
It's a crap over with Watch What Crappens with Ronnie and Ben. They do Housewives. Their shows Watch What
Bravo
Crappens.
And all of Bravo.
They do all of Bravo.
And they're branching out into stuff like My Octopus Teacher, which I watched and cried my eyes out.
Oh, they're doing a lot of different kind of stuff. They're inspiring. And so you guys, be sure to listen. If you're a Housewives fan, as we said in the first part, give them a listen. Subscribe to them; they're hilarious. We had a ball doing this. If you're listening to this and you're like, "Wait, I'm a Patreon member and I sure wish I could see this," then Poodle, what can people do?
Go on the goddamn GAYTRON. It's right there.
And it's what, Poodle?
It's for everybody.
No, it's a video.
It's a video. Yeah,
it's a video of us doing this. We recorded this on YouTube.
Sorry, I just assume everyone's seen videos of me.
I just gave you the fucking layup. I mean, I dribbled, and just handed it up, and you went, "What?"
When someone says, "Tell them about your videos," I usually refer them to Grindr.
Yeah, Piano Cat 77 has a private link. It's not even called Bitly.
Got to go into Bitcoin.
Yeah,
you got to pay 1 Bitcoin to get that.
Y'all, if Jake sends you a link and instead of Bitly, if it says Raleigh, then that means it's porn. Raleigh.
Is that what they say? Bitly?
Bitly.
I thought it was a tiny URL.
But I think there's both. They both do the same thing.
Okay.
They're just two different companies.
No one gives a shit.
No one gives
Roll
a shit.
tape.
All right, here's part 2.
Hello, this is Captain Poodle speaking. Are you ready to find love?
Yes, ahoy, matey.
Love. Exciting and new. Go online. They're catfishing you.
Shocker.
Fiancé.
Soon you'll be flying to parts unknown.
90-day Beyonce.
Marrying someone you've only met on your phone.
Be they French or Chinese, a brand new K1 visa's the key.
Ooh, the key to what, Poodle?
To love. It's 90-day gay. Let's love.
This movie was bonkers. It was
fun. It was watchable.
It was watchable.
I'm gonna watch it again. That's I was fine with it.
I kind of wanted, because I was watching it in earnestness to like talk about it. This totally is I'm gonna just make like a huge vodka tonic and watch this movie.
Yeah.
And knit.
I think I was confused by just so many of the tropes that were there, and then the ones that weren't. And
tropes? What are you talking about? Cut to a map going from here.
Yeah, by the way, they're supposed to be in Chicago. They're supposed to be like in Metro Chicago.
And it was only a map of like 6 blocks. It wasn't even like New York to San Francisco. It was just like in the other neighborhood.
Why did they need to like have an animation sequence to show
that's the way
it's happening in another part of
the producer was like, how do we know it's Chicago? We got to tell these kids it's Chicago.
Tell them it's the Windy City.
Morty, get that map we have. Get it.
So now we go to the hot guy highlights. What was his name? Jax.
Jackson.
So he shows up. So he is like, he's walking up with some girl to like a doorway. I'm like, oh, okay, we've got another person here. He's from the poster, so I know that like, okay, he's gonna be important. So he looks really shy at first, and I thought his accent was British at first. So I'm like, oh, he's a shy British man who's being brought to Christmas. And there's this girl who's like, oh my God, like you're here for Christmas. Da, da, da. This is my boyfriend. He's like, boyfriend. And then like the mom and the dad are like really like on top of him and like showing photos like, oh, this is a photo of when she got her first period. We're in an edgy movie, guys. Bad Moms Part 2.
This is Bad Moms Part 2.
The first 10 minutes were like sensory overload for me. Like it was like things were being thrown at your face so quickly. It was problematic.
It was like a movie version of when I once hooked up with that guy at Akbar, and he was like completely ate my face, and I took him home, and then I found out he had brought his overnight bag on the first hookup in my bathroom.
Well, you're dating the Go-Go Boys. He was going to work. It's like getting mad that a doctor woke up next to you in scrubs.
It's true. I knew
some yoga teacher.
I knew it was bad the morning after we were laying in bed. He's like, I can't wait for us to do yoga together. And Jake and I were roommates at the time, and I walked out the hallway.
My eyes are like this.
And Jake is holding the bag in his hand, and he looks at me and says, "This has to stop."
And I'm like, he brought his electric toothbrush.
But that is kind of like, I feel like this guy was part of that family where it's like, go hard, go quick, go now is this family. So even it got really edgy too when they later have sex. Highlights has sex with Carly. That's her name. And he doesn't want to, but he's a man. And if it just feels good, we forget our inhibitions and we got to have sex. Mm-hmm. So they fuck, and they're later kind of giving gifts, and he doesn't get her a gift. And the line was, again, Bad Moms 2. I'm going to use that, Ben. She's like, wait a minute.
It just came in my mouth.
He just came in my mouth.
And I went,
I was like, that was a lot for me.
I was like, okay. I mean, but like, I would have liked it if maybe the whole movie was like that, but it wasn't like that. It was just like this strange tonal, like,
it was the tonal issues. Yeah.
And what was weird too is that at this point he was like this very polite guy who was kind of like, whoa, I'm just like a normal guy in a crazy world. And that's like the last time he's like that. Because then from that point on, he's like a dick. The rest of the time he's like, well, look at you, lady, in the supermarket. You wanna, well, you're crazy. Hey, let's fuck. Let's go to New Year's Eve, and you're skanky, and I can say that because it's fun. It's like, what?
And you're not even that hot of a Sheila.
Yeah. He's like, so nice to meet an ugly girl I can be myself around with.
Oh, I was like, wait, you deserve that other Carly girl, and why weren't you with her? Like,
oh my God. Yeah, I was feeling old because I was like, I really would have liked to watch this with my nieces. Like, I was really like, you came in my mouth. You can't give me a present. And then he tries to pay her off. He's like, well, I've got $20. And she's like, 80.
Yeah, she's like, what am I, a prostitute?
It was such a, like, who is this movie for? Like, is it for like, because like people who love these movies, they probably be like me going, come in your mouth.
Like at the beginning,
I know.
But then it goes sort of in a sweet way, and then I wrote down a note. Did someone say this? I think he said it right. Chicks go mentals on the holidays, right, or something like that.
Yes.
Like, wow, girls are crazy on the holidays.
I think his friend said that to him later.
Oh,
yeah. But he agreed with it
for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's boning her in her childhood room. Then back at Sloane's house, she's sitting at the kids' table. She's like, I prefer the single table. And even the kid is on her ass about being with someone. And she's like, so Aunt Sloane, why didn't you call Rodney the clown? And she's like, why don't you call Rodney the clown? She's like, I have a boyfriend already, and I share his juice box. And so she's like, oh, fuck you. He's going to be sharing that juice box with some Starbucks barista named Rainbow.
Right.
She, the writer of that movie spent so much time actually knowing how she wanted that line to be done.
It's true.
Yeah,
just practicing it
with the little girl. And so then, so Sloane has this like younger brother who's kind of like just a douchebag. Actually, like he has nothing.
All the men in this movie are awful.
He's a guy. He would be a guy on Women Behaving Badly.
Yeah, he's like he's just like
I
someone
thought he
who
was so sweet, and he
takes
was like,
selfies at the gym.
I thought he was
That's-
so sweet and like committing to people.
That's why you have relationship problems.
But then he's like, so he has this girlfriend named Liz, and he proposes to her, and I'm like, at the time, I'm like, okay, cool. But as the movie goes on, I'm like, why are these two even in a relationship? They do not match each other at all in any sort of way.
Well, that's why it was funny because they had only known each other for 3 months and 6
months.
heavenly days, but they know nothing about each other. They're
I
just,
think
like, in love
Oh, I
with
didn't
each
even realize that was like the running joke. I
Yeah.
thought it was just like bad writing.
I don't
No,
think the
they
brother
don't
was
know each
there.
other the whole time.
I don't think the brother was there for any reason but yet to be his golf student, so they would slightly know each other.
That
was
was
like
the only
almost-
reason the brother was there.
Almost a complication, but it wasn't a complication.
Yeah.
He didn't need anything.
You're so right, Ben. You realize they're kind of like my Aunt Darla. They walk right up to conflict, and then when they see it, they're like, "Nope, can't do it. I'm out."
It was a Darla. That was definitely. It's like we've got MacGuffins, and now we have Darla.
Darla Jean, yeah.
That's an Aunt Darla.
Because it was like, oh no, they know each other. Now they're going to be entangled in ways they can't imagine. Oh no, it's pretty much the same, and it doesn't matter because all the family shows up at every holiday anyway.
It's just
I
fine,
feel like-
Tim. It's fine, Tim. Get my purse. We're leaving.
I feel like it was White Self who did that. I think he was like, you know what we need in this film? A Darla. Make
And a
the
doula.
golf students.
So now it's like after this horrific Christmas, and the Jackson is at a store. He's at the mall, at the
He's
department
at the
store.
mall.
Crate and
And he's
Barrel, I think.
returning. He's basically returning the khakis to get money off of them, and he wants I guess he wants his $40 back or his $80 back.
$80.
Only occurred to me right now. So he's like, "Oh, I'd like to return some khakis, please." And then like Sloane's behind him, being like, hurry up! Some of us have a job, okay?
Yeah, Crocodile Dundee.
Okay,
whoa.
that's my something. Again, I don't know how this woman
It's
is.
a
who wrote-
30-year-old reference.
who wrote this? But it's not just that. First of all, Crocodile Dundee. Later on, we're going to get a Matt Lauer tattoo, and then we're also going to get Steve Urkel. Like, someone is really upset that 1992 is gone. Really upset because and actually the tattoo comes. She's like, "Oh, and they start to fight about who's returning what." And then
also,
there's
like, what a fucking bitch! If you're at a store and someone's like, "Hurry up! Some of us have a job." Crocodile Dundee. I'd be like, "Shut the fuck! Like, who the fuck
how
are you?
rude.
I'm trying to get my money. I'm here for the same reason you are."
I think
No
this was
one-
written- Oh, go ahead, honey.
No one except a monster attacks strangers in a line.
Yeah, exactly. You do what you're supposed to do, which is you cross your arms and you go.
that's what Jake does.
Come on, what you waiting for?
Yeah, and you tap your foot a little bit, and you
Yeah.
just like swipe your phone loudly. You know, like when you have your phone and you're like,
Or
I
maybe
have,
you have a
I have her
conversation.
Jake turn to someone and
Yeah, I'm
say,
still on the-
"How long
I'm still
have
on
you been waiting?" Very loudly.
That's
He
it.
had
How long
done-
have you been waiting here? I was
Yeah,
told by my mother.
I'll be there as soon as I'm done. This line's just taking forever. I know. They're just not prepared. Okay.
but I'm a total phony because I get so mad in the line, and then I hate everybody in the line, like resent them for having too many things in their cart or taking too long. And then I get up to the front and I'm like, "Hi, how are you?
That's me. That's me.
Thank you for your help."
I hate conflict.
I'd be like, I was in a hurry.
And Darla and I are a lot alike.
But also, I think this was written by someone who's never really been poor, about poor, like what they think poor people are like. Because the house, like the Mama's family house, I'm like, I'm sure you guys, it's like the tiniest house they could get where they have to get a leaf for the table. And then they have this where they're like fighting over like she's fighting over $2 for jogging pants that she didn't like for her sister or pajama pants. And he's like, I really need that money for the cookies. I'm like, oh,
She's
God.
like, how do poor people behave?
I know. And he's
What
like
do
a golf
they give?
pro.
What does a poor person give another poor person for Christmas?
Also, what professional golfer returns khakis? He should be like, sweet.
Right?
Yeah.
Sweet.
So she moves her way up to the front of the line because she's like a different kind of romantic movie.
That purse tapping into her power.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she moves up and she's like, I have a quick return. PJs in the size of a lumberjack.
They're like,
She's filled with rage.
she
Filled.
is. She's a very angry person with a
Yeah.
remarkably wonderfully decorated apartment. So
Yes,
she's
beautiful.
We're going to talk about that apartment.
Yeah,
we
she's
are gonna
like,
get
she's
there.
like a monster, but then she shops at Anthropology, and you're like,
Yeah.
what?
Well, that tracks. So, so basically, yeah. So she can only get $5 from her exchange because her sister gave her pants from like 2 seasons ago, which I thought was actually pretty funny. And so they like do this whole negotiation with the girl behind them, and they get like money out of it, but also like the girl gives them like a 2-for-1 pretzel coupon at like Wetzel's Pretzels, which then I guess is actually important because it means that these two, like our leads, have a scene together because they have to go get their pretzel.
By the way, I
It's
just
the weirdest concept I've ever heard.
I was just looking on my phone because I went, I wonder what the Princess Leia, like nerd girl with the Matt Lauer tattoo's name was, and it was Annie. That was her character's name, Annie.
Oh, okay.
So even that's not a normal name too.
Guess who Annie is? Poor, the orphan.
Oh my
She spent all
God!
her money. She spent all her money on a Matt Lauer tattoo. Oh, actual Annie. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is what happens to Annie. She winds up getting a Matt Lauer tattoo.
There was also just the idea of having that. Here's a 2-for-1 pretzel, and normally you don't meet a stranger and say, "Do you want to go too?" It's just
like, here, take this.
it seems really strange. Here, you'll use this because I don't know you and I don't want to spend time with you.
I'm gonna get fucking 2 pretzels. I'm gonna get the regular pretzel with the cheese sauce, and then I'm gonna get the cinnamon sugar one with for dessert. Fuck you, I'm alone.
I think those are upsells. I'm betting you that is like you buy one kind of pretzel and you get another. You can't just be like, oh, I want the $2.60 pretzel and the $3.15 pretzel.
Yeah,
I just think it's strange. That's it.
I think it's strange that they already were so contentious. Like, she was already such an asshole to him, and then he was kind of a dick to her. It's weird that then they were like, okay, let's walk together.
Can we go on a walk?
The pretzel shop, which for all we know could have been across the mall. You know, like,
and this is a big mall.
They were bonded at this point because they were both complaining about their Christmases or their whatever it was. It was Christmas, right?
Well,
so Christmas. So they were complaining about their Christmases and how horrible everybody. They were bonding over negativity, which I found very realistic. And so they went to get their little pretzel thing, and then they keep bitching about all the stupid people in line and everybody's stupid. My family sucks. And then they're like, "Hey, we should date."
Yeah. Well, there's like this weird like badinage about like her Urkel impersonation because he shames her for eating pretzels. I don't even remember why, but he's like shaming her, and then he says, "This is
junk food, mate."
Yeah, he goes, "Oh, I bought you a free pretzel, so you owe me an Urkel." I'm like, what? He doesn't owe you any Urkel impersonation.
Don't owe you anything.
It was that was one of the strangest pieces of dialogue in the movie. I owe you an Urkel.
Yeah. Well, when she came out with her fascination about her Urkel, she's like, "Yeah, I had a thing for Urkel. I spent months learning how to throw my voice like Urkel." So then he makes her do Urkel, and I was like, "Who fucking?"
That's so terrible. I feel bad for people walking by you overhearing your conversation.
Because I guess she had a because again, Zack Snyder romantic comedies. She has a ventriloquist doll named Lester that she did the Steve Urkel voice.
But do you see how we have to go through all of this just to find that out?
Just to find that out. But it works though, because once they both decide to have holidays, because Jackson says, quote, "Human beings don't need to be alone on the holidays," because he says it like it's a fact.
You're forgetting also the whole reason why Holidate came up is she saw the black guy who was Kristen Jenner, the Black Santa.
Oh yeah,
and she had this look of horror on her face, like, "Will the Black Santa know me?"
And he was like, "How do you know the Santa Claus?" And she's like, "Oh, that was my aunt's Holidate." And he's like, "Holidate, eh?" And then like that's when she explains the concept.
Are you saying Holidate? Oh, Holidate, because Holidate is pretty good. It's at the end of that because it sounds like you're saying holiday and putting them together. Is that what you're doing?
And so he starts saying this thing. He's like, "Well, you know what? I need a holiday because I'm done casually dating on the holidays. It's too much pressure. It's ridiculous." I'm like, "Well, then don't casually date on the holidays and like stay home and jerk off."
Yeah.
Really?
How many people casually date on the holidays?
Go to Memorial Day alone.
I have never done that. And I have one friend who freaks out every time it's Christmas or any holiday. She's like, oh my God, I'm alone. Ah! I'm like, this is the best time of the year to be alone. Like, if there's ever a time to realize what a pleasure it is being alone, it's a holiday. Seeing everybody else suck. And like, you've been up with him for how many years? Like, you see the deterioration of this shit every year. I mean, I just feel better about it every year.
And why is he so scared of, like, if he casually dates someone and then they think that it's much more committed than it is, like, why is he afraid of that? I think there was a scene in the car later, which we'll get to, where he tries to explain it, but I don't feel like it really addresses the issue here. Like, it's like weird psychology going on with these characters.
It's horrible psychology.
There seems like there were a lot of scenes that were cut to make this movie an hour and 45 minutes.
I was going to say, there are so many, you guys, when this gets released on a DVD at Blockbuster, because that's what the guy was imagining when he wrote it, because it was the wrong time period, there's going to be so many deleted scenes.
Yeah, because it's like, if you're afraid of commitment, if you're afraid of being like overly committed, you're afraid of commitment and you're afraid that the holidays are going to cause that to happen.
Yes.
Why are you also interested in casually dating during the holidays?
Yes.
Why is it so important that you casually date during the holidays?
Yes.
Right? Like, I think if you're afraid of commitment, you just avoid it all together and go out with like your other single bros that are in the same boat.
I just realized this is the movie that when you do rent at Blockbuster, it's so not good enough. It's because to market it, they'll give you a box of chocolate when you rent it.
Yeah,
that's enough for me.
That's a good point.
I think to have a holiday, to make the assumption of a holiday means that you basically said, I'm not really going to date. I'm just going to give up hope for any serious relationship. Yes. I'm closing up my life.
Yeah.
That's it for me. A long, dark hallway.
Yeah.
And how, if you are a casual dater, like if you're someone who casually dates enough that you actually casual date on something like Christmas, what are you doing in between those holidays? Are you casually dating and then you tell someone, I can't spend St. Patrick's Day with you because I have a platonic date that I see
a platonic date that I see on every holiday, and someone goes, what the fuck is that?
And then the casual date is
what's wrong
over.
with you? Are you just sad?
I just don't get the whole idea, because I brought somebody home one time just for fun. I wasn't even serious. It was just like some casual thing. They still will ask. You know, it's like, how's that guy? Remember that guy? I was like, I was 20.
Yeah.
Like, are we gonna still ask about?
Like, he's dead now.
He's in prison, Mom. He did coke off some guy's dick.
So either way, he basically is like, let's be holidays for New Year's Eve. And he's like, there'll be no expectations because honestly, I don't even find you that attractive. And he said, not saying you're not attractive. I just don't find you attractive.
And the tone of that was so weird. And it was like a weird, he said it wrong and he said it weirdly. And she kind of went.
You didn't believe it, obviously. Don't you remember the scene in Sprouts?
Didn't believe it.
There was a scene in Sprouts. Ryan Gosling, we're getting to you.
They name checked Ryan Gosling like 11 times in this movie.
I know. And so then he's like, all right, well, let me give you my information on a business card. And I was like, oh, this is from 1991.
Yes, I'm telling you. And
so
then
switch information by bumping our fists together with our phones open.
You guys, my dad, that just reminded me, he is so scared that he thinks that if you bump your phones together just accidentally, it automatically will share your data because of that.
Tell your father to stop watching Real Housewives of Dallas, because that's where he got that idea.
That probably because he also
happened.
He's like, man, watch your phone. Don't let it touch my phone. I don't want your shit. I'm like, anyway, it's but you know what? I will say maybe one of my favorite lines in the movie. You had me at Leicester. That was the whole point of that ventriloquist dummy, y'all, was just so they could say they really more. I think they took so many different scenes from movies and they're like, how can we make this fantastic line or this fantastic scene in one of these great, pivotal, momentous movies and make it better?
Yeah. You had me at Leicester.
You had me at Leicester. I think too, what if that whole like throwing the voice thing was just because Emma Roberts had special skills on her resume that said throwing voice and she'd never been able to use it. And that was one of her
whistle, throwing voice, and tap dancing.
Yeah. And she's like, Ryan Murphy never lets me do this. Yeah. I'm upset.
please let me include this in the movie. Like, sure, you can have a scene with Francis Fisher where you talk about your father.
Oh, she's like, who? Okay, so they decide that they're going to be holidates because he has tickets to some party. She's like, oh my God, that's such a fun party.
That's
like,
the best party.
Yeah, another thing single people never say.
And
like,
guess
oh my
what?
God, thank God, a date. That's the coolest date party ever.
Her family's going.
Like her family had connects, but she didn't.
Yeah.
Like everyone else, like even her frumpy sister, like her Aunt Susan got into this party, but she's like, oh God, you got a ticket to that party. And by the way, I do not believe for one moment that Sloane's character would ever want to go to that party.
Never.
No, she doesn't.
Okay, so now Sloane is working at home in her pajamas, which her mother hates, and she's like, "Honey, can't you just put on a nice top?" So she's trying to hook her up with her new neighbor Farouk, and she's like, "He's single and free on New Year's," and she just hangs up on her mom.
Can I just say I was honestly worried that he was going to have a really bad Indian or Middle Eastern accent.
Well,
I was
problematic. I was honestly worried.
No, this is definitely one where you didn't know if it was going to be problematic for sure.
No,
yeah.
I was
like,
but also there was something kind of like slightly problematic in that, like it almost felt like the fact that his name was Farouk was the punchline. Like, oh God, someone named Farouk. And I was like, that's.
And the way Mom was saying, yes, this very exotic Dr. Farouk. Yes, who knows what he's going to share with me.
Yeah, he's a doctor next door. It's like, great.
I just want to back up and say, yes, racism is important, but something that really offended me is this is the worst office banter on the phone I've ever heard. Because I've worked a cubicle job for 17 years when she's just literally someone said, what do we write for Sloane being on an office? And they said, just have her say we're right on target for Q3. That was like the most lame office dialogue fucking ever.
Can you refill my stapler, Paul?
Exactly. That would have been more... Anyway,
right on target
like
Q3.
That's all I wanted to say. I'm fine. I just had to get that out.
Someone Googled what the screenwriter who's not obviously a rich person.
I think you're right, Ben. I think she's rich.
She Googled what do office people say?
Yeah,
and that came up.
I don't know anybody who gets mad at their mother for trying to set them up with a hot doctor anyway. I mean,
he's hot.
He's like hot. He's the hot doctor next door, and she's like, gross. I guess I'll look at the golf guys.
That's actually nice. Where the guy she's in love with is horrible.
Yeah,
my mom tried to fix me up with some guy, and we met at her restaurant when she had a restaurant. And we're drinking these gigantic martinis because it's a Karam restaurant, so they're this big. And the guy comes in, and he was fine, but there was something like kind of skittish. And he went to the bathroom. I said, Mom, he seems kind of like shaky and skittish. She goes, oh, he just got out of rehab. He's like, he had severe drug issues, but he's working through it, and he's getting. And I was like, we're drinking huge martinis. Like, what? This
he
is
just got on the wagon. He got off the wagon for you.
Honey, the martini's going to loosen him up. It's fine.
This is her idea of a setup, having martinis with someone who just got out of rehab and has the shakes. I was like, mother, I will take the hot doctor, okay?
So then we go over to Jackson. He's hanging out with his buddy. Is his name Tom, the buddy? Tom,
the Vine guy.
The Vine guy's named Tom. And so Tom's like looking through like a Tinder type thing, and he's like, look at this girl, look at this girl, look at this girl. And he's like, I don't need a real girl because I'm emotionally closed off, as all golfers are. I need a holiday.
You know what I need? A pair of cockies. God, I wish I could find a pair of cockies.
Cockies.
You know what I need? I don't need a real girl. What I need is a very, very attractive woman that I can hang out with on a regular basis and potentially develop feelings for, but I won't say that part.
Because they're both two beautiful people. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely irresponsible.
They are.
So then oh, sorry, Matt.
I was going to say, I was actually, is that when Sloane calls him?
Yeah. I told you to text
him. Yeah, he's like, I'll see text him call. And his friend is like, what's a holiday? Is that an app?
Is that a meme?
He was funny. I'll give it to him. He was.
Yeah, he was.
He had some really shitty dialogue though. Whew.
Yeah, he did. So now Jackson and Sloane go to this like New Year's Eve party, which is like, again, also like a party that's like, I guess it's like has has anyone involved in this movie ever been to New Year's Eve party? Like, what was this? Like this abandoned theater or something like that? Like, it was huge.
It was like a club, but it wasn't really a club.
It was like a movie club.
Yeah.
It also was way too spacious because if you go to those, I went to one time with our old roommate Lindsay. We went to it was on Cahuenga. It's basically like one of those like on Hollywood Boulevards, and it used to be. I think
Playhouse
it is La Brea. It's like whatever, and it is one of those like concert venues. It was on New Year's Eve. It's so packed, and it just smells like swass and drunk people
and beer,
and everyone's sweaty and gross. This is not a New Year's Eve party.
It just did not look. It was just like it did not look or feel like a real party. It looked like the sort of thing that like there's like a shootout in an action movie, you know?
Yes.
Like a Japanese Yakuza boss is in the back with like an opium den.
It was literally like the scene from Black Panther in like Macau.
I was just thinking that. Yeah, I was just thinking that.
So then they're like making fun of people, which I appreciated. And then he's like, that's time for more like romantic banter or like anti-romantic banter. Because he's like, your tits look exceptional. I love the way it hugs your ass too. Isn't this amazing? Because we're clearly not going to date each other, so I can say whatever I want.
Yeah, he's like, thank God I can say whatever I want because you've got a face like a horse.
And exactly.
And she's like, yeah, and I can dress sexy without being slut shamed. Like,
yeah, because this is the way.
Better.
In her super slutty dress, but what was that? Was that a slutty dress?
No,
not at all.
It was a very pretty black dress.
Like costume. I say costume. There was a costume that she was wearing at 4th of July where her ass was out. Now that was kind of slutty, but that's okay.
Oh God!
But also, like, isn't like it's like okay, like I get you guys are holidays. I get it. But like, why do you have to be dicks to each other? Like, aren't you supposed to like enjoy each other's company?
Yeah, like have a good conversation. And again, it was this very much the one-upping and of the dialogue. Because again, you're thinking, whoa, they're talking about tits. They're talking about curves. I need to hide my child's eyes. Oh, just wait till Aunt Susan comes and she starts talking about her clitoris.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
No, I was going to say Aunt Susan brings over. She's like, look at this art student. And I'm like, I'm glad we know it's an art student because he's wearing a motherfucking beret.
I know. I was like,
I didn't notice that.
I noticed that too. I was like, thanks for telegraphing that.
Maybe you should have had his like painter's palette as well.
Morty, go get that beret there. I think it's in the back of my station wagon, Morty.
And he should have like spoken like Pepe Le Pew French at her or something. So stupid.
Yeah, they see her over there because she's flirting with Beret Guy, and he's like, "Now look at her. She's a divorcee, probably into bondage. What a crazy lady." She's like, "That's my aunt." So over with the artist guy, and she's like,
"I was a new model. Like I know him because I was a new model over there. Oh my God, he made me the most beautiful clay clit, like a butterfly." Taking things.
She's like, and we're all like,
And your teenage daughter who's watching it with you is like, why am I watching this?
Yeah. Kristen Chenoweth's for us. So now it's like, then when it's like later in the party and they're in like a banquet and they're talking about like a movie or something like that. They're just like yapping along. And then at one point,
because they're talking about a romantic movie, and she's like, "That was just cockamamie because they were like, we know they're going to be together because they're in the poster together, so we know they end up together." And I'm like, "Romantic movies, am I right, Barb?"
And it's important that you take note of the fact that she said cockamamie because we actually have there's a callback. There's a callback. Cockamamie. Who says that word anymore? Cockamamie.
Note. When you're writing a really shitty romantic comedy, don't have a scene where actors talk about good romantic comedies that they didn't think were good. Because it's just going to remind us that we're sad that we can't watch. You're like, I'm sitting there going, why can't I just watch Harry and Sally for the first time again? Please.
And it's also like the self-referential, banter about the genre that you're watching.
It's icky.
Was sort of played out in 1999 with Scream, or it's 97. So like it's like, oh, this is so fresh. They're making self-referential jokes about rom-com.
She really loves romantic movies, though, Ben, because Jackson, out of nowhere, suddenly becomes somewhat smart and just says to her out of the blue, Who ruined these movies for you?
What sort of cockamamie is this? Oh God, I just said it.
Oh my God, I just realized cockamamie has the word cocky in it. I'll be right back. Need to go find some cockies. So she's like, okay, I've had a couple of drinks, so I'm going to open my heart right now. Walls down. And so she tells him about the ex that broke her heart. He was smart. He was cute. He was French. He had tiny little John Lennon glasses. He ran marathons. This girl would never date that guy.
Never.
I totally agree.
Right? Like this girl would not, she would mock him and try to run him over on accident in her car.
Yes. Yes.
And what happened with Luke? What did she say happened with Luke?
He
Why did I fall apart?
went and fucked Rainbow the barista.
He texted photos of his cock to a barista, and I was like, cock.
Cockamamie.
Another
Just
word with
hearing
cockies.
the word cock in a romantic comedy in this setting, I was just like, cock. Like a dildo hits you in the face.
So then she goes to the bathroom, and there's a girl who's got red wine spilled all over her white dress, and she's like, oh my God, he was like gonna propose tonight, and now I'm just got a stained shirt. Oh my God.
And it's like not a red wine. It's like a full on. She was stabbed earlier. Like that is not a like red wine is not actual blood color. It was like this crazy blood.
That was awful. That was truly a terrible effect. Yeah,
it was. And
Morty, get that extra blood. It's in the back of the van.
White South said to do it.
And for no reason, by the way, because it literally had no bearing on anything that happened in the movie.
Nothing.
I couldn't figure
But
that out.
no,
either.
it showed that she's nice.
Yeah,
it shows that she's nice because she traded her pretty black quote unquote slut dress, which is not. Again, we used to sell them at Casual Corner. Anyway, but she's traded her
miserable person.
a black dress for her white, so that makes her a good person.
But also that she doesn't care. She's like, whatever. I'm like carefree. I have fun. I'm wearing someone else's blood on me.
Yeah, it showed that she was like changing because she opened up, she put her walls down for the guy, then she did a good deed for somebody else, and then she was even willing to dance in public to the
they did bubbles. They did bubbles.
Yeah, she was like changing and becoming happier again and more carefree, and then it all went to shit when she tried to do the dirty dancing lift and he dropped her.
I want to say that's harder. Doing a lift like that is harder. Someone just doesn't jump and you catch them. Like there is a technique for that.
You know what? There is. When I was a mascot in high school, I had to lift up cheerleaders, and it did not go well.
I can't take another mascot story.
I'm just saying, I was a very good mascot. I was a great mascot. But I'm just saying it was hard.
So they queue up for this lift and she runs, and I figure, okay, this is where like the fact that she's in this bloody dress is gonna have some impact on something. But they do the lift and he lifts her up and it's great. And then like her dress like falls off.
Yeah, you hear it go
rip. Yeah. I guess the whole thing is because it wasn't her size, but they didn't really set that up or something.
But then all they could have said, it's just like he was like, you look nice. She's like, it's a little tight. That's all we had to say.
Yeah, or she should have been like, or doing this, but like nothing. There was just like it just falls off for no good reason.
It wasn't set up at all.
It was.
And then like when it falls off, he's like, oh no, I'm suddenly weak, and he drops her, and then it's like But then in the next scene, the dress is back on again, and there's like a strap, and I'm like, so there were straps there, so why did it fall forward? Like, do you not know how to put on your strap dress?
You cannot fool gay men. We know about apparel.
Yeah,
we know about physics.
We were all like, that dress was fine the entire time. Liars. And also now she's all upset because her dress is like she showed her boobs on a New Year. This girl would not care. She'd be like,
if I looked like that, I'd be showing my tits everywhere. Hey,
yes, I would be naked right now.
My tits. Yeah. Hey, everybody. But you know what? It was good for them, again, to reference maybe one of, if not the best romantic comedies of all time, to remind us that we're not watching Dirty Dancing, because they got to say,
that's not a romantic comedy.
Baby, Dirty Dancing's a romantic comedy. No, it's not.
I mean, there's some like sad parts, but yeah, it's a romantic. It's a romantic drama.
It's a movie with social messages, and I know this because I just watched 2 nights ago a behind the scenes on the making of Dirty Dancing.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
I thought it was all about social medias and social messages in class. That's what I thought it was about.
There's like there's a thing on Netflix that's like behind the scenes on movies, and they had one on Dirty Dancing. It was fantastic.
It's a drama.
It
That
is.
sister is funny.
I haven't
You
seen
can
it
hide
since I was a
in the hula and the- That's funny.
Yeah, I haven't seen this since I was a kid.
Away. That girl.
The point
Okay.
is this.
The point is this.
The point
Say
is
it
this.
then.
It's time for New Year's, and this douchebag. I don't care if they're going to kiss or not. Who walks away when it's like
Gotta pay.
11:59?
I got
It's
to
a
take
weird
your
thing to do.
11:59.
Well, they got in a fight because she's like, nobody drops a baby on her head. And he's like, I don't have to take this. I was like, what? You dropped her. So then he
was a
just
stupid
leaves-
fight.
Again, it's great
Yeah, it was a
movie
dumb
line.
fight.
Let's change it and make it better.
Yeah. Nobody drops a baby on her Urkel.
And I do that for you.
So he leaves all mad and then comes back for some reason right after the countdown. And so
And
now they're
everyone's
like,
making out.
Yeah, and
She
they're like,
said-
oh, we're mad because I'm naked and covered in wine, and I'm mad because she got mad at me for dropping her on the floor in front of people.
Yeah, and she has like FOMO, you know. So she's also kind of annoying because she's not being honest with herself or
Yeah.
us, which
That's
I don't
when
like.
I was like, didn't want this. It's too early in the movie for you to have a change of heart.
I mean, it
Yeah.
really is so much a good message for women to say, women, you should doubt yourself, not trust your instincts, and always feel insecure in your decisions.
And go out with people who say you're
Yeah.
ugly.
So, y'all, this is definitely something to watch with your daughter, your nieces.
Yeah, girl power.
Girl power, not.
So
So
they're
he
like,
drops her home, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Well, tonight didn't suck. I actually had a fairly decent time," which actually felt like a very authentic thing that someone like him would say.
mhm.
Yes.
And then he's like, "How about Valentine's Day?" And she's like, "Ew, no." Blah.
She's like,
And-
I might have a chance to hook up with somebody, but then I was like, not with that.
Oh, you
sour
do
pucker,
want to be
man."
with someone?
Yeah,
Like-
now she's looking again, I guess. I don't know.
So now we're like in February. It's Valentine's Day, and they're
Yeah.
in some sort of like chocolate store. They're like, so she's there. She's there. Sloane is there with her sister.
Again, this family does fucking too much together.
Yeah, but they're like, it's like what's her sister's name again? It's like Amy,
It's probably like Lily or something.
Lily, and then Liz, the like future sister-in-law, and they're
Yes.
like sitting at a table in the chocolatier. I'm like, why are they at a table in like a store? Why is there a table there?
It
But
does
they're
seem
there-
like a ladies' date. It does.
I thought they were
seem-
looking at bridal invitations or something
Yeah, they
for
were looking
her.
at, like cards or something.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I thought they were looking at invitations for her wedding.
Yeah, so they're
Oh,
looking
okay.
over those because
The
one of
chocolate
it, you
store.
know, it's Valentine's Day and someone's getting married. They have to make
Yeah.
it as miserable for.
Yes, I only know that because I've always get chosen to be the GAYTRON of honor to be a best man at somebody's fucking wedding.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You've done
So-
that so many
Done
times.
a lot.
Yeah.
So she's gonna like they're like, are you gonna go out with someone on Valentine's Day? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, I'm going to like go home and drink wine and eat chocolate and watch porn on Valentine's Day. Which is funny because just before she was saying she was hoping that she wouldn't be in that situation, but fine.
I'm happy being single.
That's what. And again,
Yeah.
yay, women!
Yeah.
And then like, well, what about the mall guy? And she's like, ew, he can't even speak English. He says cocky like cocky, like cockamamie.
That's such
an
a
asshole.
weird line. He can't even speak English. It
like-
sounds like something like someone would scream at like some
It
kind of
is.
white power rally.
Yeah.
It's like,
I know.
ew, he's so handsome and has like a hot Australian accent and is like
Yeah,
a
everyone hates that.
professional athlete. Ew.
Yeah, ew,
Speak
gross.
English, Dundee.
Also, she says he can't even speak English, but she was just in love with a French guy.
Man,
You just blew a hole in the movie.
you just Ronnie just ruined the movie. Maybe it's I don't know. Poodle, use your gift.
Maybe
Does he have BDF
Which one?
highlights? Poodle has a gift. He can tell.
it's
What is it? Big dick
Big dick
frenemy? Big
It's
dick
pretty-
frenemy.
it's face, so you can see it in the face. It's
Big
all
dick
Oh.
face.
yeah, but it's pretty substantial. I think
So maybe
think-
that's why she's holding on to it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, he's
Well-
made it onto Netflix. I would assume it's pretty decent sized.
I looked him up, and he hasn't really been in that much.
No.
Shocker.
He's in
Yeah.
break.
I blame
But
the
he's
highlight.
handsome. I think he'll be in more stuff. He was
He's
really
very
handsome.
handsome. He
He's very handsome.
definitely showed he could be funny. though, and he can deliver dialogue.
You know, I actually want
love
to.
him.
They seemed. I sometimes felt like he was like her uncle because he didn't look like. But I just feel like she looked so young, and he doesn't look old. He looks, you know, in his 40s.
He's definitely some heavy cream that you need to turn into some like gratin before it goes bad. Like he's like right at that stage.
Yes.
Yeah, his eyes, especially the eyes with the crinkly eyes, were.
It's funny because the entire time I was thinking it was Bryce Dallas Howard, and I'm like, why? How are they making her play so young when she like literally ran Jurassic Park? Like she was like the administrator of an amusement park in one movie, and now she's just like this young little something. So this makes a lot more sense to me.
I love that you go
No, I'm not even joking. I literally had that thought. Like, I was like, how is it that she's like running at a dangerous amusement park, and then in this movie, she like can barely operate Zoom.
Oh God, here we go.
Oh my God.